You, of course, are part of the cast and crew of Mystery Science Theater 3000, which, as I mentioned in my previous episode, interview with Jonah and Felicia, is my favorite TV show of all time. So I'm, needless to say, very excited to know that you guys are coming back for a 13th season on your self-funded Gizmoplex platform, of which I was a proud donor. And not only do we have the very first host of the show and the creator as well, Joel Hodgson, sir, thank you for being here.
Thank
But
you.
and also with Emily Marsh, who is the latest host alongside Jonah this season. And Emily, thank you for being with us here today.
Oh my gosh, Jesse, thank you so much for having me. Such a pleasure.
Yeah, it's terrific to. I saw you on the live tour and the COVID special. You guys have been doing a really wonderful job on your end.
Yes. Thank you so much for saying that. That has been, I mean, the whole thing has been such a wild ride, and everybody's positive feedback. You're always like, I hope this is all working for you, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm having the time of my life, but I hope you are also enjoying what we are giving you. So it's always, yay. Good.
Yes, I'm glad.
Well,
and Joel, please go ahead.
Emily is a bright young talent that's sitting in the middle of something that just gets bigger every day. I'll just leave it at that.
It does. It does. And it feels like a lifetime ago since I ever saw my first episode with you, Joel. It was a 2000, I believe it was Pod People, which I rented through my local Blockbuster Video.
Oh my God.
Because I'd only been familiar with Mike and the Sci-Fi Channel era. I had to learn everything about you guys, and you're part of the show. And yeah, it was a heck of an experience.
Oh my God, that's so great. Well, that makes me really happy because I think in some ways, I think of Mystery Science Theater like a message in a bottle, because you never know when people are going to find it. And when they do, and you have the experience like you did, Jesse, you kind of go, oh yeah, right. That's what it was supposed to do is, oh, here's this video. I'm going to pop it in. I don't know if it's what I want or not. And then if it works for you, it's always really fun.
Yeah, and it certainly worked for me as a kid, and it's still working for me at 33 years old. So I gotta say, things are going really well with this Kickstarter of yours. But I know that, of course, this latest season was a big challenge, and that, of course, COVID was still quite very much around, and you guys had to take a lot of precautions to get it made. So can you guys tell me a little bit about what you had to specifically do, along with all the other shows that had to produce during COVID, and how it compared to the challenge of the Netflix episodes?
Well, this one was way harder this season, and not only did we do 13 episodes and 12 shorts, but we sent out a live tour, and Emily was on that tour, and we had the wonderful live cast with her.
Yes.
And Emily's show, if you're a backer, for the soft premiere, Emily's show premieres on Friday, her first episode, which is very strong, and we're really, really proud of it. Yes. So to answer your question, COVID made this the hardest season ever. There's so many crazy things that happened. Just losing people for weeks at a time because they got COVID.
Wow.
And having to rebook studio time. And we also had to, because the way we did the Kickstarter, we had to make the whole series out of order, which we've never done. We usually just do it in a very deliberate order from beginning to end. And it's kind of a really organic way to do it. And because of the way it was, we had to do things kind of out of order, which just makes it didn't change. I don't think it changed the outcome, but it made the process much busier. So we're super happy to be on the other side of it. But yeah, it was tough. And Emily, she was in it, man. Yes. She was in the shit, man.
Oh, imagine that's a heck of an experience.
She was in the shit, man, and out on the road during COVID. It's crazy.
Yeah, I was unfortunate not able to see this one, but I'm sure you did a wonderful job, Emily. How was it for your on your end?
Oh man, I mean, it was a wonderful experience because I mean, it was just so nice to, after having lockdown, to suddenly be like, we're back, we're seeing people. Yes. Definitely in a you know, a slightly different format. Like we had a lot more rules about where we could go out, getting tested 3 times a week
Sure.
for COVID things. And, but the thing that was crazy, which I still actually don't even understand how we did this, but we did not cancel a single show because of COVID concerns.
Wow, that is astonishing. A lot of them have been going through that lately, especially. So that's amazing on your end. You guys have really kept it down.
Yeah, I have no clue. And we did have some people, we had 3 that did test positive for COVID, but just from whatever luck that we had going for us as the tour that could, we had understudies who stepped in. We had somebody who flew in to be like a technical understudy. And as a result, the only 2 shows we canceled were because of weather.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's astonishing. That's a really incredible achievement, especially considering how loyal your fan base is and is willing to just pretty much follow everything you guys do. So to see that even through COVID, that's still true. That's amazing.
Absolutely. And also, I would give such a huge shout out to the fans that did come out to see the show, being so understanding of like, I mean, sometimes we were thrown curveballs where it's like, hey guys, this is our like new policy because we're just trying to do something to make sure we keep going.
Yeah.
And I feel like fans were always so sweet when we're just like, hey guys, this is a new thing we now have to do.
Sure,
So
very
sorry. And everybody would be like, we get it. Like you guys are just trying to like not have to cancel shows. And we didn't. So
yeah,
it was
yeah, we
wonderful.
were all in that thing together, and I'm glad that it came out so wonderful for you guys. So because I noticed that you also have a similar experience as Mike Nelson, who is of course the second host. Joel and Jonah, when they hosted, had the advantage of working in stand-up and television work, but you were largely a stage performer. So could you share a little bit with us about this incredible journey you went through, going from a fan of the show to the host?
Yeah, I mean, basically it was kind of you know, MST3K Live, like I'd watched the show when I was a kid with my dad and with my brother. That was sort of how I came to the show. It was our tradition whenever my mom went out of town because she hated Mystery Science Theater and
Oh,
didn't get it. She was just like, I don't get this show.
yeah.
Even now she's being nice, but I think she still doesn't
Yeah.
quite get it, you
No,
know?
my mother is in that same boat. My father is the one who I can thankfully convince to go to the shows with me, but that's another story.
I was gonna say, I think every fan of Mystery Science Theater has had that experience where you show the episode, you're like, isn't it so good? And somebody goes, yeah, I'm not quite getting it. And you're like,
Right.
that's okay. I appreciate it. I appreciate you watching.
I feel the same way about that. I got to tell you, I never, well, because it's a niche show.
Mhm.
You know, you can never presume people know about it. It's not like other TV shows where everyone's heard of it. So you can't presume that, but I also totally get why people don't like it.
Sure.
It's
Totally
fair.
makes sense, like, well, we could just be doing this ourselves. I don't get it. Like, what's it all mean? Like, and why are we watching bad movies? We're supposed to be watching good movies. What happened
Yeah.
to good movies?
Right.
You know, where I come from, we watch good movies. We avoid bad movies. You're doing it all wrong.
Right, right. Not in these parts, no. But and Joel, since you were the one who was in charge of, hiring all these guys, I'm sure it was a entirely different experience because back in the 90s, of course, you had all these people who you knew through the Minneapolis stand-up scene and otherwise working on the show. So how does that differ from how you hired the regular writers that you guys have been working with from the Netflix season onto this new Gizmoplex season?
Well, when you brought up Mike Nelson, he's really a good example because what I did was I got J. Elvis Weinstein and Trace Beaulieu, who I knew. Those were the 2 guys I knew from the comedy scene. Jim Mallon and Kevin Murphy were in local TV production.
Yes.
So they weren't in comedy, they were like producers. And so that's kind of how it started. But what I did to find Mike was I just said, Josh Weinstein, J. Elvis Weinstein was still doing stand-up. And I said, well, who do you like? Who do you like that you think would be good? And he told me about Mike, and we went and watched Mike. And Mike wasn't really in the comedy scene. He was like an opening act. I mean, he wasn't even an opening act. He was like what they call an open stage act.
Yes. Yeah, he said it.
So he wasn't even like I don't think he had been ever paid to do comedy. Let's just put it that way.
Sure.
I think mostly he's known for he was a waiter at TGI Fridays. I know
Yes, he talks about
so
pretty much.
he
Yes.
was that profile. But when I saw him, I there's something about him where he wasn't dependent on the audience to like him.
Mhm.
He was just kind of doing it and kind of knew he was funny, and he didn't need the approval of the audience, and that made me really like him. So so that's kind of how we found him. And then after that point, whoever the newest person was would tend to hip us to who is out there. So Mike, for example, I think alerted us to Frank.
Mhm.
I think that's where we got Frank, or maybe Josh found Frank, but
Okay.
Mary Jo came through Mike, I think, or Bridget. It was kind of like the newest person finds the next person. That's how we did it back in the day. And then the way it differs now is it was a similar process, but to the way we found Emily and her cast was we did an actual audition in New York. So that was the first time we had ever done that. And that felt very foreign to me. I'd never done that. I'd always just found these people, they were friends, and I thought they were talented, and I tried to enlist them. But this was really different, doing a casting call with a lot of people. And it was amazing process that I really appreciated. So it was very different.
That's an incredibly fascinating thing, because it's definitely a great process to see how each generation of the show gets to get along and develop your chemistry with each other. So I guess we'll go ahead and wrap it up with one last question for you guys. You guys got a lot of unique innovations into the theater. You got GPC entering into the theater to riff along with you guys. You got Kelsey and Brady, who is the new actress for Crow on your live cast, right, Emily?
That's correct.
That's wonderful. Yes, and we're introducing a bunch of awesome new people and new concepts into this season. So I guess that there hasn't been a huge backlash from a lot of us or the MST3K fans, and that is something really special at a time when fandom is whatever it is on social media. So how do you guys think you can avoid you've been able to avoid a lot of the negativity and nastiness that can really consume a lot of other great sci-fi franchises?
Ooh, I was gonna, can I give my answer, Joel? And then you can judge my answer accordingly.
Well, I've already started.
Oh, good. Well, I would say, because I've thought a lot about this as being a new addition.
Sure.
And I always remember before doing the first live show, like our first preview in York, Pennsylvania, and I was like, wow, I'll know really quickly if people like me. This is a live show situation. It will be very evident.
Yes.
And I think, and then what it was it was an amazing experience. People were so kind and were like reaching out to be like, welcome to the family.
Yes.
And I guess, and I always credit the fact that this kind of a warm community exists around this show, because I think it attracts that kind of warm sort of, that it attracts that kind of personality because the show itself is so warm.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this before. It's like a show that makes fun of movies, there are other franchises or other properties that kind of do that now, but they're much more like pointed. Like it's more like we are making fun of them. Right. And that's something that Mystery Science Theater has never really done. It's always been in this loving way, because like for all of us, I mean, speaking personally, like I watch bad movies.
Yeah.
And I mean, and it's like, it would be, I know people have asked, they're like, why are you watching bad movies? Like, why would you do that? And I'm like, there's just something so endearing about it. Like people are trying so hard
I get
and it fails.
Feeling. Yes, I get the same feeling as a critic myself of these bad movies. So I think that's a huge difference. Joel, your thoughts?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, before we brought MST back like 7 years ago, I think it was a really different, people really looked at it differently, very differently. And I think they were still like so fixated on the Joel or Mike thing. Sure. And so no one could kind of see another version, and that was really bugging me. And so I was really interested, and I knew that if we were able to introduce a third host, it would kind of disrupt all that. And it really did. It's just like once Jonah came in, and everybody loves Jonah, he's like this adorable guy. And so I think that worked really good. But also the people who are with us now love that we are changing and that we're thriving in this environment and just doing new things that are when needed. And they're kind of okay with it, instead of like going, no, you must recreate the show as I remember it when I was 13, or this will not work.
Right.
Read my lips and make it exactly like it was when I was 13, so I could feel comfy and warm in my mom's downstairs.
Right. No, we deal with that a lot. We deal with that a lot.
We can do a lot. We can make you laugh. We can make you laugh real hard, but we can't make you 13 again. So that's kind of where we're at. You know, people just, I think they kind of are interested in it. And it's like, at this point, it's a little bit like Formula One racing. Like, you expect innovation. You want them to be doing new things with the tires. You want them to be working on the engine and making it go a little faster. And so we're just kind of in the pursuit of that, or sailboat racing or something. It's like we're in the pursuit of this adventure of making the show right now. And so this is kind of what it looks like. And so it seems like we've lost a lot of the people that are just kind of grumbling, like, why aren't I feeling that? Why just to make
it's an escape.
Get more styrofoam on camera. We want it more goopy, more glue and Krylon, like, you know, so that's all. But we're just doing our best to kind of service the idea and keep it working and stuff.
No, and I gotta say, as a fan, being from a semi-biased viewpoint, as you can see from my wall, I've really enjoyed what you guys have done. I think this is the furthest you guys have come to making a show that feels like its own, but feels very close in spirit to what you guys had originally with you, Joel and Mike. And I think Jonah and Emily are gonna do really wonderful in this season, as they've had on previous works, because I'm really a huge fan of what you guys are doing. And as someone who's been dealing with autism all his life myself, I think MST3K has been a huge communicator for me as a person. And discovering friends and pockets of friends throughout my life through this show and riff tracks and the Mads and all this stuff. Thank you so much, Joel, for making that happen. And thank you, Emily, for being a fantastic part of this incredible legacy I'm still glad to be a part of.
Same here. Same here, man.
Well, and that is Joel Hodgson and Emily Marsh, folks. Those are the you will be seeing them both on Mystery Science Theater 3000 this season, where Joel will, of course, have a cameo alongside Emily and Jonah. And it will be coming May 6th, 7th, and 8th. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's
correct.
Yep. 13 episodes, 12 shorts on the Gizmoplex app. So you can check that out this week when the interview comes out, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it as much as I have as a lifelong Misty. So thank you guys. It's been an honor to finally meet all the hosts of Mystery Science Theater 3000, Mike, Joel, Emily, and Jonah, and of course Felicia as well. You guys have been an amazing group of people to talk to, and I hope to do it again.
Thanks, man.
Hold on to your box.
Oh, we got movie signs!
Mystery Science Theater 3000 is coming back again.
Movie in the hole.
This season, MST3K features 13 brand new episodes, including some of the cheesiest movies ever.
Vin Diesel in The Slow and the Steady.
And there is where we'll put the sick flat screen.
Oh, it's like a Hershey kiss in a suit.
But wait, there's more. The new season isn't on television or Netflix. It's available exclusively on a brand new platform called the Gizmoplex, built just for MST3K.
A bright and shining beacon to the worst that cinema has to offer.
It all starts May 6th, so reserve your season pass now and get new MST3K every other week, all year long.
Well, at this point, I'm all out of dignity, so let's go.
Success!
Find out more only at the Gizmoplex at mst3k.com/season 13.